This week on The Startup Life.
And so when you can eliminate the emotional charges around things, whether it was from yesterday, 2 years ago, or a lifetime ago, when you can eliminate those, your body responds, and oftentimes those physical symptoms will go away or diminish.
All right, Startup Nation, so let's take flight with Michele Molitor, Executive Confidence Coach and Rapid Rewire Expert. The Startup Life begins now.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
Hey, Startup Nation. Do you enjoy The Startup Life? Now you can let the world know with gear from the show. Choose from the Label Yourself, Make Your Own Luck, and Making Money t-shirts to tell your story of your path of entrepreneurship. Click the link in the show notes to purchase. All right, Startup Nation, so I hope you're ready to receive some value today. We have Michele Molitor in the building. How's it going, Michele?
It's going great, Dominic. How are you? I'm happy to be here with you today.
I can't complain. Are you ready to pour some knowledge into Startup Nation today?
I sure am. It's one of my favorite things to do.
Awesome. So let's get started. So let's do this. Tell us about your story, about your path to entrepreneurship, and tell us a little bit about Nectar Consulting.
Sure. I grew up in a family of entrepreneurs, and I stumbled into entrepreneurship myself. In my former life, I was a creative director in web development. And at the height of the dot-com boom, I got moved to San Francisco. We were going to IPO. I was going to work for a hot new startup. It was so exciting. And the week I started, the week we were going to IPO was the week the market crashed.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And we kept plugging along thinking we're going to re-IPO, and market crashed again. And 9 months later, I found myself essentially bullied out of my job. It was pretty horrible at the time. And I was really left shattered. My self-confidence, my self-esteem was a hot mess. And I was like, wow, what do we do now? And so I discovered coaching to help me figure out what my next steps were, because I really was a deer in the headlights of what to do. And in the process of being coached, I discovered my true calling, my passion and my purpose to really be of service to people and help them find theirs, right?
Gotcha.
So I went on to get trained and certified as a coach and started my company, Nectar Consulting, in 2001. And I can do this. I grew up in a family of entrepreneurs. I'll figure it out.
Right.
That's what I've been doing for the last 17 years, figuring it out.
Awesome. Great stuff. So real quick, a quick follow-up question. If things not going the way we kind of plan them, seems to kind of be the way of the entrepreneur from time to time. So when you talk about, that bubble bursting out there in Silicon Valley, what did you learn from that?
Well, what I learned is always have a plan B in mind. Right? Because things have changed. There is no real, quote, job security, right? You think you go to a company and I'm going to work hard and I'm going to, give my all to this company, and you can still get laid off or downsized or whatever, right? So the most important thing is really doing work that you really love, right? That fills you up, that excites you to get out of bed every day, because then there can always be another way. You can go to another company, or you can start your own gig, right? And figure it out as you go along. So that's probably the most important thing that I would say. And I say this to all my clients, do what you love and love what you do and get paid well to do it, right?
Absolutely. Michele, let me ask you this. Who or what inspires you as an entrepreneur, and why?
Gosh, that's a great question, Dominic. The first person that pops into my head is actually a friend and colleague of mine. Her name's Sheila Lewis.
Okay.
She's an amazing businesswoman, strategist, marketeer. Her company's Ashton 212. And I have worked with a lot of consultants in my life, and she is by far, hands down, one of the best most honorable, filled with integrity type of consultants I've ever had the pleasure of working with and collaborating with, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so people who, like her, who have high bars for what they do and the impact that they want to create and the knowledge transfer that they want to be in the world. Those are folks that really, really inspire me.
So let's dive into the work a little bit, shall we? So explain to us in Startup Nation, what is rapid transformational therapy and how do we break down the neuroscience of success? Break that down for us a little bit.
Oh yeah, that's one of my favorite things to talk about.
Awesome.
So as I said, I've been a coach for 17 years now. And then through that process, I've turned into a learning junkie. Yes, thank you. Can I have another workshap, please?
Gotcha.
Always looking to enhance my knowledge and my skill set, right? So I can be the best coach that I can be and get out of my own way. You know, as entrepreneurs, we have blind spots. We have those fears, those doubts that creep up and wake us up at 4:00 in the morning, right?
Absolutely.
And so I discovered the work of Marissa Peer. She's a world-renowned therapist, and she developed this process called Rapid Transformational Therapy. And it's a hybrid methodology that combines neuro-linguistic programming, cognitive behavioral therapy, and hypnosis together. And I did some work with her for myself to get rid of those one or two blocks that I still couldn't get at no matter how hard I tried.
Right.
And the transformation, the results happened in a matter of weeks, Dominic. It was profound and like mind blowing. I was like, holy moly, Batman, how do I do more of this? How can I bring this work to my clients? So she started training people about 3 years ago in her methodology. And so I've gone on to become trained and certified as a rapid transformational therapy practitioner. Okay. And I've combined it with my coaching in a really unique way that I call rapid rewiring, right?
Okay.
So this RTT for short, because rapid transformational therapy is a big old mouthful.
For sure.
RTT is a way at essentially having a conversation with your subconscious mind, Dominic, to get at the blind spots, the limiting beliefs, the negative habits that no longer serve you, where they arose from, what's the originating event, so that you can change the script, you can neutralize the emotional charge around it, and then rewire new thoughts, new behaviors, new patterns into your brain.
Thank you for sharing that. And Startup Nation, if you find yourself, stuck in a rut or something like that, or if you feel like your company can benefit from Michele's value, be sure to go to nectarconsulting.com to schedule and book Michele and her services. Web address is there in the show notes, Startup Nation, for easy access. So Michele, let me ask you this, because, there are many successful people out there. They're like in upper management, and they've really made a name for themselves in their industry or in their space, wherever the case may be. But even still, for some reason, they sometimes feel stuck, right? And they're not really sure if they're in the right space. How does this happen?
Well, that's a great question, and it's a very common issue, right? Mm-hmm. So we go through life showing up, right? And we take the leads that the universe provides us. Hey, look over here, try this, right? You might be guided by a passion and a purpose. You might be just kind of wandering along. Hey, that's a good idea. Let me try that on. And it becomes a lifelong career. I've seen a lot of people who wander down that path, and it's neither right, wrong, good, or bad. It's just everybody's different.
Right.
And there's a part of your brain called the amygdala, right? And your amygdala is your fight or flight mechanism in your brain. It's the part of you that is just there to keep you alive and on the planet. I like to call her Amy. Amy's your amygdala, right?
Okay.
She just wants to protect you and love you, right? And so as we go through our life, from the moment we're born, we're always making decisions about ourselves, about how to move through the world safely, right? So even as a small child or a young adult, you might have had some incident, some event happen in your life, good, bad, right, wrong, small, large, catastrophe. It doesn't matter. But if you made a decision about yourself, like, oh, I can't do that, or I shouldn't do that because that's not safe. Thank you, Amy. Right? Then you will avoid that at all costs. And Amy's in charge of that. And that ends up in your programming in your subconscious mind, and it will stay there until you eliminate it, right? So back to your question, as an adult, if you're working in a career, whether it's your own company or working for another company, right? When you come up against those stuck spots, those places that you're like, I don't know what to do, or you feel like you're spinning in circles, oftentimes it's because Amy has got some programming there in your subconscious that's just trying to keep you safe. Does that make sense?
No, that makes complete sense. And I appreciate you sharing that, because like I said, we have a lot of people who, like they like I said, they have like these impressive degrees and they have like these really great jobs, but even still they find themselves, it's almost like, the higher up they get, sometimes the more stuck they feel. And I think that's just kind of a crazy thought, but
it happens. It happens, right? People think, if I just get to this level of success, as I'm making 6 figures or 7 figures or 8 figures, right, then I'll be happy. But yet they're still not happy, because there's a lot of subconscious programming in there that is keeping you down. You see, your mind doesn't know the difference. And well, let me put it this way. As a child, your mind doesn't know the difference between good, bad, right, or wrong. It just is a sponge. It just takes in information, right? Your subconscious takes in all that information and makes decisions. And so even though that decision point may sound cockamamie, like, why would my body do that to protect me if it's painful, like to create literally a physical illness in my body to protect me? Because Amy doesn't know the difference. So, well, that's good or that's bad. She just know I got to keep you alive and on the planet. So I've seen time and time and time again with the hundreds and hundreds of clients I've worked with from around the globe, Dominic, who have physical ailments that have shown up in their bodies, whether it's chronic migraines, chronic stress, chronic inflammatory bowel syndrome, or Crohn's, a whole myriad of different things, arthritis, because of emotions that haven't been processed in the body. And so when you can eliminate the emotional charges around things, whether it was from yesterday, 2 years ago, or a lifetime ago, when you can eliminate those, your body responds, and oftentimes those physical symptoms will go away or diminish significantly.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because that leads me to my next question. Because, over the past, probably say 3 to 5 years, the importance of mental health has substantially become at the forefront of people's conscience, if you will, right? Like, they're understanding that mental health is more important than we would say maybe 10, 15 years ago, right?
Oh my gosh, absolutely so, yeah.
Right, and so like, what happened? What made that shift from that time? Because, there was a point in time where if you said, I'm feeling a little down, like, go walk it off, you'll be fine. But now we're starting to understand, like, there's maybe something underlying that we can kind of fix. Where did that shift come from? Why are we shifting in that direction, Michele, you think?
Well, I think as a human race, our conscious awareness is rising, is increasing, right? Okay. Our emotional intelligence is increasing. And the thing is, your emotions are at the heart of you, right? If you look back over the eons, it was, be strong, be tough.
Absolutely. Right.
Suck it up, buttercup, right? You'll be fine. But what we're learning through neuroscience is that your emotions impact everything in your body. Right. So if you break it down, when you have an emotion, if you have an emotional thought, it creates energy and chemicals in your brain, and it releases a whole host of different chemicals, good or bad. So happy chemicals are serotonin, oxytocin, dopamine, and endorphins, right? They make you feel good versus cortisol and adrenaline, which can get you really stressed out. Right.
Right.
And so we've been trying to be tough and not show our emotions for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, right? As a protective mechanism. Thank you again, Amy, right?
Right.
And what we've learned is that, like, actually expressing your emotions, feeling your feelings, and letting them move through you is probably one of the healthiest things that you can do, right? It doesn't mean yelling and screaming at someone. It means, processing your emotions effectively, not ineffectively. Does that make sense?
No, that makes complete sense. Thank you for sharing that. Now, and that brings me to my next question, actually. Now, you are a co-author of a best-selling book, Breakthrough Healing, and it highlights some amazing people that offer, alternative ways of healing the body outside of Western medicine, right? And I read the a sample of the book where it talks about, using certain, holding certain fingers to get rid of like nervousness or maybe a headache or something along those lines. So first I want to ask, what was it like to co-author a book? Because I imagine you got like different people writing pieces, and then like, I want to get this idea out. Like, no, we got to give this person some time. So tell us about that process. And also tell Startup Nation what they will receive, what kind of value they get when they purchase the book.
Oh, absolutely. So co-authoring a book is super fun because you get to bring the wisdom of several people together, right? I get to thank Jane Tabachnik, our editor and the publisher of the book with Simply Good Press, for bringing us together and having us collaborate on this book. Mm-hmm. And the book is a great way of giving you a variety of different modalities, healing modalities, to help you see how you can tackle some of your own physical, emotional limitations and beliefs that you might be carrying around that might be slowing you down, to help you move forward without the help of big pharma, right?
Right, absolutely.
Because the mind-body connection is super powerful, super powerful.
Right.
And what I love about what we've done with my co-authors is you can buy Breakthrough Healing on Amazon. You can get the Kindle version, and the paperback version, but all of the proceeds go to the Children's Hospital. So it's a charitable donation, and it helps kids who are suffering in the hospital. So
absolutely, yeah. It actually, I believe it goes to St. Jude, and that's actually here in Memphis, and so that's near and dear to my heart.
Yes.
Well, so thank you for sharing that for sure. And so, what kind of value does Startup Nation get from that book? And Startup Nation, you can purchase that book there in the show notes. The link is there for easy access to purchase that book there, Startup Nation, for sure. But what kind of value do we get, after we purchase that book, Michele?
Well, you're gonna see a variety of different perspectives on how you can enhance, improve, heal your mind, body, spirit. Gotcha. Right? How you can find new and better ways to feel good, right? To let go of stress and to move forward in the world more powerfully. I mean, when you let go of stress, when you let go of emotional baggage, the junk in your trunk, right? You've been carrying around for far too long. Right. You get rid of that. Right. You're like, hey, wow, I have a whole new perspective. It's like taking the blinders off, Dominic, the world from a whole different way.
For sure. Thank you for sharing that. Now, in addition to that book, I know you have a blog, and we'll get into that a little bit. But I also saw something that you wrote on your LinkedIn page. You wrote a piece, How to Build the Habit of Self-Confidence, which I absolutely love, by the way, because I think we see a lot of self-help books and self-help pieces, and they tell you kind of how to get there. But I believe when you introduce the word habit, to me, that seems to suggest like a sustaining self-confidence, right? As opposed to something that is fleeting. So what inspired that post?
Well, I refer to myself as the executive confidence coach and rapid rewire expert, right?
Okay.
And so having had my confidence shattered in my career, and having had to have rebuilt it, that's why I'm so passionate about this topic. Anytime I can give folks new and different, better ways to enhance their confidence, the better they're going to be, right? Because confidence is one of those things that affects all areas of your life. I grew up in a wonderful family. My parents are coming up on their 60th wedding anniversary. I have a wonderful older brother and sister. And my brother, Scott, has always been very confident. And I never was. And I was like, how come he got all the confidence and I didn't get any? I literally, I was like flummoxed by that. Like, how does that work, right? We grew up in the same house. We have the same parents, and he's super confident. And I'm like, what? It took me a long time to figure out how to really step into it and own my gifts and my talents and my strengths. And so that's why I like to write about it and give people other insights and tools to do that.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Now, I want to talk about, a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey, just a little bit more. I came across a post where after 2 years of work, you were able to finally land a contract with San Francisco International Airport. So first of all, congratulations.
Thanks.
And second of all, tell us about that process. Was there ever a time you was like, this isn't going to work, or it may work, or it may not work? I don't know. But tell us about that process, that, and that feeling you felt when you closed the deal.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I have to, I owe a lot of that. Not all of it, but parts of that, I would say a big thanks to Marissa Peer and the RTT work that I did with her. Gotcha. Because it removed doing rapid transformational therapy, got rid of that last block that I had that was keeping the lid on my confidence, right? And really completely eliminated the box, such that previously, if the RFP for that 5-year contract with San Francisco International Airport landed on my desk, I would have been like, that's a good idea, but no way, right? And I got it, and I was like, oh, hell yeah. And I called up my colleague like, hey, you want to collaborate on this? She's like, okay, great. And so we did, and we put together this amazing team of 24 different consultants to meet all of the needs. And there's a very explicit, huge RFP. For sure. And by God, we won. So it was a long process because it took nearly a year to even find out who won the bid. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So we're one of 2 consulting teams that won the bid. And then it took us another year to actually even get started with the work because of red tape and contracts and blah, blah, blah. Right. Gotcha, we're in the thick of it and having a great time. And the beauty is it's led to some other city contracts that we're in the process of working out the details on those. So one thing has led to the next has led to the next. So it's a beautiful thing. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And Startup Nation, what I hear when Michele talks, first of all, RFP stands for Request for Proposal, if you wasn't sure what that meant. But what I hear is that, if you offer a great service and you have a great platform to deliver that service, don't be afraid to go out and try to procure some of those contracts, government contracts, city contracts, stuff like that. Absolutely. Because if you have a great service, there's always a platform for you to provide that service, especially on the government contract model. So thank you for sharing that, Michele. I really do appreciate that. So yeah, and actually, let me add to that, Dominic, because one thing that's really, really important. So for large cities like San Francisco, on public works contracts such as this, they have to have a percentage requirement of the work done by a local business enterprise or a LBE, right? And so we have a couple of consultants on our team because I don't live in San Francisco proper. Gotcha. So you have to live in that particular city and be registered as an LBE or licensed business enterprise. And the folks on our team that are those that have that extra letters by their name, they get work handed to them because they fit that, right? So my colleague Joel Brown, for example, amazing. He has his PhD in educational leadership and he's also an attorney. There we go. Gotcha. His law degree. No worries. And because he's one of 2 LBEs on our team, he gets a whole boatload of work, and we did all the front work. So, as an entrepreneur, if you're looking to get in on city contracts, that's a great way to help you do that. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. Startup Nation, also on Michele's website, nectarconsulting.com. If you sign up and give, sign up with your email address, she offers a free ebook and a free 30-minute MP3 audio content to kind of give you an idea of, some of the services
that she provides. And I actually did sign up and did listen to the 30-minute MP3 audio content, which was amazing, by the way, Michele. I really
thanks.
kind of dived into some stuff internally, so I appreciate that. So when you are thinking about the services that you provide and stuff like that, what made you come up with that part of your services, if you will? Like, what made you come up with that audio content like that?
Well, sure. So I've got two different ebooks on my website that you all listening can get for free. Go to the Brain Candy section in my website under audios and ebooks. And I wrote the ebooks, and then as part of the work that I do with my clients, the RTT work that I do, I create a customized recording as part of the rapid rewiring portion of the work that I do. And I can tell you more about that in just a minute. But
sure.
The recording, the customized rapid rewiring recording that I make is essentially what I have them do as homework after our session. And they listen to it every day for at least 21 days. And what that does is it literally rewires your brain. It builds new neural pathways in your brain. So Dominic, if you take that recording that you downloaded that went with my saying no with grace and grit, or Standing in Your Power and Presence ebook, there's one for both of them, and listen to it every day for 21 days, you'll start to notice a shift. They're very subtle shifts, but they're all about building up your confidence, right? And standing in who you are more completely, more authentically.
For sure. And Startup Nation, I can vouch firsthand that it's very great value that you're going to get. So I implore you to sign up. And also those free ebooks, Startup Nation, those links are in the show notes as well for easy access for you to get a hold of those. Real quick before we go to break, Michele, what's your average day look like? Be as specific as possible from top to bottom, from sun up to sundown.
Sure. So I typically wake up about 7. I roll out of bed, get my coffee. I'm at my desk by 8. And I have an interesting combination of work that keeps my brain really happy, right? So I work one-on-one with individual clients doing RTT and coaching, right? And so I'll have anywhere from 1 to 6 clients on any given day. But then I also have a couple of different consulting projects that I work on as well with other colleagues. So for example, I have the employee development and coaching program that I'm working on for San Francisco International Airport. I have another program I'm working with Marissa Pierce's team directly to create a whole new rapid transformational coach training program that'll be coming out later this year. So it allows me to use all my creative skills. And I hope 3 times a week I try to get the gym in the middle of the afternoon, take a little break, go lift some weights, build my bones up, and come home, eat dinner, and then typically do a second shift from the couch with my laptop while I watch the news and, finish up with emails and whatnot and shut things down by 8 o'clock at night and watch a little boob tube to turn my brain off. And I'm crashed out by about 10:30. So that's my exciting life.
Got you. Understood. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. How you like being on the Startup Life so far, Michele?
Oh, I'm having a blast, Dominic. Thanks.
Oh, no worries. All right, Startup Nation. So I hope you're getting great value from Michele's content, but we got to pay a few bills. Once again, my name is Dominic Lawson, and you're listening to The Startup Life. Hey business owner, the Startup Life reach is growing. Wouldn't you like your business to grow with it? Reach out to us to advertise on The Startup Life. You can reach us at 901-857-4818, or you can email me at dominic@askalsolutions.com. I mean, don't get me wrong, like this is a great music to have break on, but wouldn't this break sound a lot better with the same music but your business being advertised on it? Need more content from The Startup Life, you say? You can now sign up for The Startup Life All Access Pass on the Binge Podcast Network's Patreon page. There is exclusive content written by yours truly, video content where I share even more of my business philosophies, and whatever crazy content I can think of out of that crazy head of mine. And at only $5 a month, yeah, $5 a month, this is more content for you, Startup Nation, to really get ahead of your competition. So instead of upsizing that meal at your favorite fast food joint, you can now invest in yourself on your path to entrepreneurship. Click the link in the show notes to sign up. All right, Startup Nation, so let's continue. So Michele, you offer many services there at Nectar Consulting. Tell us a little bit about those services, like the one-on-ones and the team assessment dynamics. I think this one is called. Tell us a little bit about those, and tell us honestly, what's your favorite?
Oh gosh. I do a variety of different things, but my most favorite by far is my rapid rewiring work that I do with clients. And what that is, it's a combination, rapid transformational therapy plus coaching, because I found the two together creates a really powerful inside out 1-2 superpower punch to help you rewire your brain in a good way and eliminate negative beliefs and habits and even physical issues that you're challenged by. So absolutely, what that looks like is inside of a 30-day period, I start with a 2-hour rapid transformational therapy session, RTT session. Okay. And I do all of my work over Zoom, Dominic, so I get to work with people all around the world.
Nice.
And inside of that 2-hour session, we talk through the information they send me in their intake form, and then I drop them into a very relaxed state of hypnosis. And hypnosis is not woo-woo, it's science, folks. It's absolutely science. So essentially, you're in a very relaxed state. You're conscious. You're able to answer questions I'm asking you, but your critical judging mind essentially takes a bit of a nap, goes to the back seat. I'm able to help folks understand what's at the root cause of the challenge they're dealing with. So for example, I have a client who came to me, really successful woman, working in the nonprofit world, doing amazing work, but she's got severe arthritis, and it slows her down tremendously, especially with a 5-year-old. And so through this work together, we've gotten clear that the root causes of it were emotional pain that she really hadn't properly processed. Understood. And it literally was stuck in her body, creating this physical pain, right? And so through this process, she's been able to diminish her arthritis probably by 80 to 90%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That always amazes me, right? And I know we talked about it a little bit earlier, but like how there are so many alternatives to honestly taking a pill or something like that, or taking, some type of Western medicine. Like the brain is so powerful that a lot of things that, that we think that we need Western medicine for really can be kind of healed by ourselves through whether meditation or RTT or whatever the case may be. So that's honestly one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on the show, Michele, because I find that work extremely fascinating. But I will.
So do I.
For sure. But, you also mentioned something. I want to ask a follow-up real quick, because when you talked about, hypnotherapy and hypnosis and stuff like that, you said it's not woo-woo, this, that, and the other, because you have those people out there like, oh, they're snake oil salesmen, like you're selling a joke. How do you combat those notions, those myths, if you will? Because I imagine that can be a struggle sometimes in your business.
Well, people are going to believe whatever they're going to believe.
That's
right?
fair.
All I can do is tell them what I know, show them what I've done, If you go to my website, there's a gobs of testimonials of folks that I've coached and that I've done RTT with, right? And the massive transformations that they've had. So I literally get to witness miracles happening on a regular basis, Dominic. It blows my mind. I'm such awe and so blessed to be able to facilitate this work. And so I just give them facts. These are things that have happened. I've seen this happen. These clients have shared these results with me, and it either moves them or it doesn't. Right?
No, for sure.
I do have an animation that I had created, and it gives you the basics of how RTT works, how it goes into your subconscious mind, and pulls out the old files. If you think about it, your iPhone, for example, or your computer, how often do you upgrade your software?
Absolutely.
Pretty regularly, right?
Right.
So if you think of your brain as a computer, how often do you upgrade your software?
Right.
And so this process is a way of helping you upgrade your software and let go of limiting beliefs, emotional baggage that no longer serves you because you made a decision about yourself when you were 3. Well, you're not 3 anymore. You're a grown adult.
Exactly.
Right. So you might want to upgrade some of that thinking. That's all.
Startup Nation, let me chime in here really quickly because Michele brings up an excellent point that I kind of want to talk to you about just a little bit more. So look, when we start our company and we start with that idea that we have, not everybody's going to get it. And granted, look, not everybody is supposed to get it, but before we get to that point, let's look at ourselves and check our messaging first. Maybe we're not properly explaining what our idea or our company does. Go back and think about that elevator pitch, right? Because, the elevator pitch forces you to be very concise and be very, direct in what you're offering to the marketplace. Think about that problem that you're trying to solve. Think about the solution that your company brings to the marketplace. And think about that unique value that nobody else does better than you, right? Now, look, once you've done all of that and you've honed that messaging, you're going to bring some more of those people to the table, right? And they're going to get it. But once you realize that the other people still don't get it, then look, your idea, your company, your business, your service, or whatever it is, it wasn't for them. And it never will be. And that's okay. Never think you have to get 100% of the marketplace. Let them go and get what they need elsewhere. Or maybe they're just not ready for you and they don't understand the value. And that's okay. So, Startup Nation, I wanted to share that with you because that's very important on your path to entrepreneurship. So, once again, if people are not understanding what your message is, try to hone in on that message, try to refocus that message. If they still don't get it, then maybe they're just not the client for you right now. Let's get back to Michele.
Michele, I've actually seen that animation on your website. And Startup Nation, that animation, the link to that animation is in the show notes as well for you to kind of see how it works. And when you brought up that analogy, and the animation does this as well, that analogy of like the brain, like the computer, about the conscious, the subconscious, and the unconscious, it was a perfect analogy, and it made everything clear for me. So thank you for having that made, because that explained a lot. I really appreciate that. And Startup Nation, when you look at the animation, I think it'll explain a lot for you as well.
There's nothing scary about it. I've had, some people like, oh, I don't know what's going to happen. And so I go to great lengths to help each and every client understand the process before we even start. Actually have a whole nother transformation recording that I sent to them, similar to the one you experienced, Dominic, but
Absolutely.
Called I Am Deeply Relaxed.
Gotcha.
And it just helps them relax so they can try it on. Just like, how do you describe what chocolate tastes like? You have to taste it.
There it is.
Understand. So I try to give you a little taste before you dive in.
I hear that. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. So Michele, and you spoke to this a few minutes ago. You boast a lot of success stories, and you've made some amazing breakthroughs with the people that you work with. However, I want you to, if you can, tell me about a time where you did the coaching, you did the rewiring, and for some reason, one or another, it's just not working. Like it's just not, somebody's just not getting it. Basically nothing worked. How did you overcome that, and what did you do?
Well, there's always going to be folks who are resistant to change,
Gotcha.
right?
Fair
I
enough.
tell folks, if you're up for change, if you're up for really making a quantum leap, then I'm your gal, right?
Gotcha.
If you're really not up for change, then I'm probably not, because this is deep work and it's not for the faint of heart.
Gotcha.
Right? So if you're
Right,
really
for
committed
sure.
to creating change, then give me a call, right? I'm happy to chat.
Right.
And so folks have come to me, and I think they didn't fully understand the breadth of the work. And while we were able to get at some of the core challenges, right, the root beliefs, their resistance to change was so great that their Amy sabotaged them.
Right.
Sabotaged the process.
Gotcha.
And it is a process. It's not something that, we sit and do 1 2-hour session, then everything changes. No, it's a process. That's why I follow the RTT with 3 60-minute coaching sessions. So inside of a month, we'll have a 2-hour RTT session. And then weeks 2, 3, and 4, we have a 60-minute coaching session. And those coaching sessions are there to help folks process the shifts that are occurring, because sometimes they're very subtle and sometimes they're really big, right? But there's a ripple effect from that as well. And then we also put in new strategies for success. I have other tools that I help folks with too. So for example, you mentioned earlier the talent dynamics assessment that I utilize.
Right.
That assessment is a way of helping folks understand what's their sweet spot that they operate from most effectively, the place that their genius, their brilliance is put to best use. So for example, my sweet spot, I'm a creator profile. There's 8 different profile types, and it helps me understand what I'm really good at, a very objective perspective that you take inside of 15 minutes, right?
Understood.
An objective perspective of where your skills, strengths are and where they're not. Right? More specifically, what should you not be doing in order to be doing more of what you should be doing?
Oh, okay. Right. For sure.
Right? You've probably heard of Strength Finder.
Yes.
Right? That's another assessment that I like to use as well. And the two really complement each other. And so seeing, the whole Strength Finder methodology is do what you're good at. Don't do what you're not good at, because trying to build up your skill sets on something that you're really not good at is going to take a lot more energy and effort to get you to 75%, when if you do what you're really good at, a little bit more effort will get you from 95 to 100%. Right?
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. So, Michele, let me ask you this, because you wrote a piece that was featured on lifehack.org, 10 Steps for Success, applying the power of your subconscious mind. And you give some amazing steps, all throughout the article. But the one that stood out to me was step 7. Feel the feeling of success as your goal will realize at this very moment. That stands out to me because I do this quite often. Okay. But when I do it, I almost every time burst into tears. And the reason being is because in that moment is I'm happy. I'm thinking about the success, and I'm thinking about that I'm happy about the success, but I'm thinking about that journey and the things I sacrificed and stuff like that. Michele, is something wrong with me, or is that normal? Or help me out with this.
No, there's nothing wrong with you, Dominic. It's all beautiful. Right? And the reason why I recommend that you do that, you see, your mind doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's imagined.
Interesting.
Right? So just like high-end athletes, be the ball, Danny. Envision yourself doing that motion, that task, succeeding, growing your company, in your mind's eye, see it in full technicolor detail, feel the feelings of how that will feel like, oh my gosh, that feels so amazing. I never thought I could get to that place, and look at me now. That feels so good, because as you do that, as you feel the feeling, as you imagine that success, and you feel the feelings, here's where the neuroscience comes in. It gets really geeky, but it's fun.
Let's do it.
Right? So you're feeling that feeling. Your brain goes, oh, we feel good. Okay, great. Boom. There's some dopamine and some serotonin. We pop that out, those hormones through your brain, and that fills your whole body. Right? And your body's like, oh, that feels good. Okay, let's do more of that. So it starts to intrinsically, internally pull you forward towards achieving that goal, because it feels good. You see, our bodies are hardwired to move towards pleasure and away from pain. So if it feels good, oh, do more of that.
Right.
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 So by envisioning it, you're creating literally the environment inside of your body for success. And then as you do that, your energy expands. Like we're all energy. You boil us down, it's physics. We're just all energy, right? So now your energy expands, opens up. And as your energy expands and your mood rises, your energetic frequency rises. And then the law of like attract likes kicks in. And so you start attracting to you more of the positive circumstances that will help you create those successful outcomes. Does that make sense?
No, that makes complete sense. So just let me know that I'm okay. Has put me at ease. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. You're all good, man.
For sure. So let me ask you this. When we talk about Nectar Consulting, once again, Startup Nation, you can go to that website, nectarconsulting.com. There in the show notes. Also, we also have the links for every single social media credential for Michele: YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. All of those are there in the show notes to be easy access. To gather some of Michele's amazing content. By the way, your content is really awesome.
No, thank you so much.
For sure. But, when we think about Nectar Consulting, where do you envision the company in the next 3 to 5 years?
Doing what I'm doing, more of it, right? I so love my work, Dominic. I feel really, really blessed. Have computer will travel, right? I can do this work anywhere in the world. As long as I got my internet connection, I'm good.
For sure.
So there'll be more travel, right?
Okay.
But just doing more of this work to help people transform their lives and to feel good and enjoy their work that they're doing every day, because it's coming from a place that has meaning and value to them. You see, we all inherently as human beings, Dominic, want to feel seen and heard and be of contribution. Right?
Absolutely.
And so that's what I help people do.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. So I want to shift gears a little bit, and I want you to tell us a little bit more about Wonder Woman Unite and the reason behind creating it.
Yeah, absolutely. So 2.5, almost 3 years ago, I was, I'm a speaker. So I was looking around for where different places that I could speak. And I came across Lean In Circle. So Sheryl Sandberg, the CFO of Facebook.
Love her. She's amazing.
Yes,
for sure.
She is amazing.
She's amazing.
Rock star. Written a book called Lean In. And from Lean In, she created Lean In Circles, which essentially are women's groups all around the globe, right? They're in person, they're online. And so I was like, oh, I should go speak, because the Palo Alto chapter here in the Bay Area is, I think, the biggest one in the world. It has 1,900 members or something crazy like that.
Got you.
And I was sitting at my desk, and I don't know if this ever happens to you, Dominic. I get downloads.
Oh, yeah.
They just, message from spirit, like,
oh, yes, absolutely.
Right? So I got a download. Start your own group. Oh, okay. Got it. So I start looking into that. I'm like, well, what should I call it? Wonder Women Unite. Oh, okay, great. That's what I'll call it. So that's how it was born. Okay. And my group, Wonder Women Unite, we have a call every third Friday of the month at 9:30 a.m. Pacific, 12:30 Eastern, and 5:30 British Standard Time. Okay. And I have different guests on my show, and we talk about different things that empower women. So, for example, this week's the January show, I'm actually pre-recording it because my guest, Kimberly Sherry, is we're having a conversation live from Australia.
Oh,
She's
nice.
in Brisbane this week. So we'll be talking about how to have wealth without worry. And how to shift your energy around your money conversation so that you can have a more abundant life. She's really masterful at it. So we'll be taping that call later this week, and it'll be airing live on my social channels and on YouTube on Friday at 9:30 a.m.
Awesome stuff. And so with that being said, I want to ask you a question. The thing is, when we talk about, Wonder Woman Unite, and so, we talk about women empowerment and stuff like that, obviously that matters to you, right? And
Yes.
so we are in the Time's Up, Me Too era, things of that nature. And so I have a wife, I'm married, and me and her, we have a company together, and I have daughters and I have a mom and this, that, and the other. I guess I'm wondering, how as a man can I help, be supportive, be an advocate for women empowerment?
That's an awesome question. Thank you for asking that, Dominic.
Mm-hmm.
Men can support women in their success by cheering them on, by listening, by being a sounding board, not necessarily having to fix things, which is your nature.
That's true.
Right?
That's something
We have our nature.
for sure.
And allowing the women in your life to shine, to step fully into who they are, their skills, their gifts, their natural talents and beauty. You have to realize that for the millennium, women have been told a variety of different messages that you're not as good as, you're not good enough.
Right.
You don't belong. So many different ways that message has been communicated to us, right?
Right.
Hold back your power. Don't outshine the men in the room. For fear of being called a bitch, for being called bossy, for, it's so fascinating, the differences in how men and women can be treated, particularly in, the corporate arena. And those things are changing for sure. And there's still some of it around, obviously.
Right, for sure.
So being just their biggest fan and being curious about what they're up to and find different ways to support them and have them feel like they can do this, right? Because we all need our own little cheerleading squads.
Absolutely.
Different shapes and forms, right?
For sure. And the reason I wanted to ask that question is because, you wrote an amazing piece, Open Letter to Women of the World, and it made me rethink, like, am I doing enough? Am I doing too much? Am I, whatever the case may be. So it kind of made me think about, am I supporting or advocating in the right way? So that's kind of why I wanted to ask that question. And I know it's important to you. Thank you so much for sharing that, for sure. I did a little bit of, Facebook stalking, because that's kind of what I do. I saw that you love pets.
Yes, I'm a bit of an animal whisperer, you might say.
Right. So tell us a little bit about that. It's like, has it always been that way? Is it a recent occurrence? Where does that come from?
Nope, I've always been an animal lover. Growing up, we had 2, 3, 4 dogs at a time. I had a myriad of different critters growing up, and now I have a couple of cats and a Goffin cockatoo named Alice.
Right.
I'm 23. She's large and in charge for a small creature of about 200 grams or something. I don't know. She's pretty. But I love nature. I love animals. I probably at times might relate better to animals than I do to the humans in the room.
Fair enough.
I'm very empathic. I feel things. I feel people. I feel their emotions, whether I want to or not sometimes.
Got you.
And so I guess the critters know that this is a house full of love. And so I have a lot of visitors here at the Critter Cottage from cats and dogs, whether they're mine or other people's. We have regular visits from Randy the raccoon, Mr. Possum, the skunk family, coyote once in the backyard.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, all sorts of great stuff.
Got you. Thank you for sharing that. Also, I was looking at the credentials for the book that we mentioned earlier, and it said that the cover was inspired by a painting of yours.
Yes.
Okay, so have you always painted? Is that picture I see behind you, did you paint that as well?
Yes, that is one of my paintings. Let me get my chair out of the way.
Okay.
And then the cover of my book as well.
Yes.
I've got paintings of mine throughout my house. Yeah, I've discovered I could draw after I graduated from college. I was like, oh, that's handy. Maybe I should use that. So I went back to school and got a degree in graphic design from the Art Institute of Atlanta. So my first career, I was a graphic designer and creative director and multimedia and web development. And I dabbled in watercolors for many, many years until my dear friend Audrey Krall, who's an amazing oil painter. Krall, K-R-A-L, audreykrall.com. Go see her work. It's beautiful.
Okay.
She taught me how to paint in oils because I was always afraid of it, because watercolor and oils are like opposite ends of the spectrum when it comes to painting.
Okay.
And so, so I paint, I draw, I dabble in photography, and it's just, a fun creative outlet for me.
Gotcha. Okay. I was going to ask if, like, to kind of like de-stress from the day, you like just go and paint every once in a while. So I appreciate you sharing that for sure. Michele, I believe all entrepreneurs have a superpower. What's yours and why?
My superpower, I love that question. My superpower is my intuition.
Ooh. Okay.
I grew up always being told, oh, don't be so sensitive. Stop crying. And so I thought it was a bad thing. And when I became a coach, I realized, it's actually a gift. It's a tool that I use. And you might think, how do you do hypnotherapy online? Just like I did coaching online for so many years and over the phone, I literally feel people across the planet, right? Whether they're next door or in Australia, I can literally feel their stress in my body and can tune into what's going on over there for them, and then ask really curious questions. And sometimes it freaks people out, like, how did you know that? I'm like,
got you.
I just know things.
So, before we ask the last question, just want to say thank you so much for coming on the Startup Life, powered by the Binge Podcast Network. Startup Nation, I want to share, Michele wants to share some freebies with you because we love freebies. Thank you, Michele. We really appreciate that. So we have a free training, 5 steps to confidently excel in your career. We also have 2 free ebooks, Saying No with Grace and Grit, and also Tapping Into Your Power and Presence. And so all of those links, Startup Nation, to acquire those freebies are there in the show notes for easy access for you, Startup Nation, for sure. So, Michele, last question, or more so, I need your help with something. So there's somebody in Startup Nation and they're on the ropes. They're getting ready to quit. They say, like, I can't do this anymore. Or they're on the cusp of starting, but like, I'm scared and I don't want to start. Give them some motivation today, Michele.
Sure. So if you're on the ropes, you don't quite know what step to take forward next, and you're like, is it the right thing? I don't know if it's the right thing. First and foremost, trust your gut, right? Your gut knows, right? If it feels exciting but butterflies in your stomach, then you're probably moving in the right direction. If it feels like a big old knot in the pit of your stomach, then that might not be a very good thing. You got to really look at that. One thing to help you do that, and again, this is another free thing, you can find it in the Brain Candy section, is do a values exercise. I have a values worksheet in there to really look at what are those core values of yours that are like water and air that you cannot live without. You have to have them in your day-to-day sustenance, right? And when you can use those as a guide, you can start to see the areas in your life that are creating stress and tension because they're out of alignment with your core values, or they're in alignment. Like if they're in alignment with your values, they're going to feel really good and you're going to want to move towards them. But if it's out of alignment, then it's going to feel crunchy and tight and in your body. So notice that. Listen to your body. It's this amazing body of wisdom, and we tend to operate from our heads up, and so get out of your head, get back in your body and see what it has to say, and let that be your guide.
Thank you so much. And that's going to wrap up this session of the Startup Life. Michele, did you enjoy being on the show?
Oh, this was so fantastic, Dominic. Thank you so much. Brilliant questions. I appreciate it.
All right, Startup Nation.
So here's my final take. As we go forth on our path to entrepreneurship, we have a lot of things to think about. We got to think about invoicing. We got to think about company payroll. And we got to think about the occasional thing that we didn't plan for. So just like a computer, like Michele said, sometimes our brains get so scattered that we kind of need to hit that reset button. That's where somebody like Michele comes in. She comes in and kind of acts like, honestly, like a brain mechanic. but she comes in and she allows you to quiet the noise and really kind of refocus and recenter our brains with her RTT method that allows you to not only have a better quality of life, but also lets you go forth and be a bigger, better, and even more badass entrepreneur. If you want to let us know what you think about the show, have an idea for a show topic, or like to advertise on our show, please send us a message on the Startup Life Podcast Facebook page. And while you are there, like and follow our page as well. It's a way for us to engage with you, Startup Nation, and really grow our community. The link is here in the show notes. Subscribe to the show as it can now be heard on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher Radio, Spotify, or whatever your favorite platform to get your podcast on. If you are listening on Apple Podcasts and you find our content valuable, please give us a 5-star rating as it will help us climb the charts and help more people find our show. Also, don't forget to sign up for the Startup Life All Access Pass to get exclusive content. This is exclusively on the Binge Podcast Network's Patreon page. And hey, if you have an idea, be about that life. The Startup Life. Hey, you. Yeah, you. Don't you want a sneak peek of the next episode? Check it out.
I'm going to put on the table that this company probably can't hold you for your whole life. I hope it holds you for a very long time. I hope that you achieve everything you want to achieve at this company and you never want to leave. But I'm realistic. I'm pragmatic. I've left many companies. I've started this my own, right? But what's important to me as a business owner is that being at Double Forte is important to you when you leave here, that you never take it off your resume. Because if you never take it off your resume for a 50, 60-year career, it means it was important to you. And how am I going to know you do that? You're going to refer business to me. We're always going to be connected. You're going to refer people. You're going to say, hey, Dominic, oh my gosh, Dominic, I know you're looking for a new job. You need to go talk to Lee. She may have, I don't know if she has a position for you, but you'd be perfect there, right? It didn't cost you anything to do. It was part of your heart, part of your being, right?
So we stay in the Bay Area and sit down with Lee Carahair, CEO of Double Forte. So go ahead and subscribe to any major podcast platform so that way, as soon as it's ready, you'll have it. So Startup Nation, get back to work. You got a company to grow.